Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this Wednesday evening. The sensex and the Nifty end at record highs. Bank stocks lead the charge. Mid-caps outperform the blue chips with the index gaining nearly 250 points. Tata Sons plans to build a new EV battery plant in the UK. Announces an investment of $5.2 billion. Jaguar Land Rover, owned by the Tatas, will be the anchor customer of the factory, which will be Europe's largest. Production will start in 2026. Relief for Disney+Hotstar. The Madras High Court prohibits Google from delisting the app from the Playstore, allows Disney to pay only 4% fee for using Google's payment system. Google says the 4% figure is temporary and applies only to Hotstar and developers on its platform. Microsoft announces a new artificial intelligence subscription worth $30 a month will allow the use of generative AI tools with its products like Word, Excel, Teams and others. Microsoft also joins hands with Meta to distribute the commercial version of Zuckerberg's new AI model called Llama 2. India's ranking on the Henley Passport Index improved 7 places to 80. Indians can now travel to 57 of the 227 countries without a pre-departure visa approval. Countries like Burkina Faso, Mongolia and Azerbaijan have visa-free access to more countries than India. Singapore is the most powerful passport with visa-free access to 192 nations. The government convenes the customary all-party meeting ahead of the monsoon session that starts tomorrow. Opposition parties are likely to rake up the Manipur situation, among other issues. The Met Department issues a rain alert for several states, including Maharashtra, Gujarat, Himachal, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Karnataka and Uttarakhand. An orange alert has been issued for the financial capital Mumbai and adjoining Thane. All of that and more coming up for you, but let's start with the market action for the day. The Sensex gained over 300 points. It's crossed the 67,000 mark. The Nifty gained over 80 points, inching closer to the 20,000 level. Bank stocks saw some healthy gains today, with the index gaining over 250 points. Mid-caps did manage to outperform the blue chips, ending with gains of nearly 1%. Well, from the stock markets now to commodities, crude oil prices inching higher. This after China's top economic planner pledged that it would roll out policies to restore and expand consumption. Tighter supply from Russia and lower weekly crude oil inventories in the US also supporting prices. Back home in earnings corner, Bank of Maharashtra reported a stellar first quarter. The bank's net profit rose 95%. Net interest income rose nearly 40%. That's on a year-on-year basis. Asset quality has improved marginally. That's Bank of Maharashtra for you. And shares of Bikaji Foods hit a 52-week high after it acquired a 49% stake in new snack maker Bhujia Lalji for over 5 crore rupees. The deal involves 9,600 equity shares and 396 compulsory convertible debentures. The acquisition is a reflection of the rapidly expanding packaged snack market. Piramal Pharma has also received the market regulator's nod to raise up to 1,050 crore rupees via rights issue. According to the draft paper submitted with SEBI, Piramal Pharma will issue full paid-up equity shares of the company to its existing eligible shareholders. The proceeds will be utilized for debt repayment. The big corporate story. Tata Sons is planning to build a new EV battery plant in the UK. Now, the company has announced an investment of £4 billion and the production at the Gigafactory is set to begin in 2026. Sonia joins us now with the details. Sonia, take us through the Tata's plans for this Gigafactory. The anchor customer really will be the JLR products of the Tata Group itself, but there could be spare capacity that may be utilized if other manufacturers would seek so.
Well, as you rightly pointed out, this is a big investment coming in from the Tata Group. They will be investing £4 billion to set up a new electric vehicle battery plant in Somerset in England. And this is in order to supply EV batteries to Jaguar Land Rover apart from other customers in UK. Now, this new factory will have an output of 40 gigawatt hours, making it one of the largest factories to produce EV batteries in Europe. The production at the new Gigafactory will start in 2026, and this new factory is expected to create around 4,000 jobs in UK, and the plant will eventually meet half of UK's battery production needs by 2030. Now, the Tata Group, remember, is going big in terms of its electric vehicle plans over the next many years. The company has also said that their balance sheet is improving substantially. They have spoken about how in Q1 of this year, they will be free cash flow positive to the tune of £400 million for Jaguar Land Rover.
All right, Sonia, many thanks for joining us. After 10 months of tense negotiations, global automakers Nissan and Renault are set to announce the finalized restructuring of their alliance. As per Reuters, Nissan aims to invest less than 10% in Renault's electric vehicle unit Ampere. Earlier, Nissan had announced a maximum investment of 15% in the EV venture. The deal was to be finalized by March, but got delayed when some senior Nissan officials raised concerns about the protection of Nissan's intellectual property. Now, the story that we've been tracking, the Madras High Court has prohibited Google from delisting Disney+Hotstar's app from its App Store. In an interim order, the court has also directed Google to charge the streaming service in India 4% as the in-app payment. Jude joins us now with more. Jude, take us through the order and how Google has responded to it.
Well, the Madras High Court has provided interim relief to Disney+Hotstar by directing Google to charge only 4% commission on its in-app billing system, the Google Play billing system. This comes after Disney+Hotstar filed an appeal in the Madras High Court against Google's insistence on using GPBS, that's the Google Play billing system, for all in-app payments. The Madras High Court also directed Google to not delist or remove Disney+Hotstar from the Playstore itself. Now, incidentally, this applies to Google for only as long as the case is sub judice and only until legal proceedings last. In fact, we can also tell you that the court has also directed Disney+Hotstar to provide monthly, financial information so as to ensure that Google can collect this fee in a timely manner. Interestingly enough, Google released a statement stating the following, and I quote, "The order is interim in nature and the temporary 4% figure is simply a fee that the developer will pay to Google each month while these legal proceedings pay out," end quote. For context, Disney is just one among 15 companies to take Google to court over these in-app payments. There are a few others, including the likes of an Alt Balaji and a Matrimony.com, that have also taken Google to court. Remember, Google charges a fee of between 11 to 26% by way of GPBS on its in-app billing system, which these companies now want to stop insisting the use of the system to collect these payments. But interim relief for Disney+Hotstar, and specifically Disney+Hotstar itself, is being looked at as a win for Disney India, however temporary as it may be.
All right, Jude, appreciate you joining us. That is, of course, interim relief, as Jude is pointing out. Microsoft stock ending the day at a record high. This after the company announced the pricing structure for its new artificial intelligence subscription service. The company's Copilot service will aid AI to its existing products that include Excel, Words and Team. This would cost an additional $30 a month, and this could increase monthly prices for enterprise customers by as much as 83%. Steve Kovac brings us the latest. Steve.
Microsoft's shares surged nearly 4%.
Steve, many thanks for joining us. And staying with AI, Meta has released a new version of its open-source artificial intelligence model. It's called Llama 2. In a blog post, the company said the technology will be free of cost and will be distributed through Microsoft's cloud service Azure. Now, quick commerce company Dunzo has deferred salary payments of employees due from June to either late August or the first week of September. This is a notable delay from the previous deadline of the 20th of July. Remember, the cash-strapped startup had deferred the June salaries for around 500 employees. That's about 50% of its entire workforce. Aishwarya standing by with the details. Aishwarya, so salaries being held back for now?
That's right. A severe cash crunch at Dunzo has resulted in salaries of employees not being credited since June. We now learn that the quick commerce platform is intending to clear all dues by the first week of September. Earlier today, Dunzo informed its workforce that their salaries that were originally due in June will be further deferred. This impacts around 500 employees, which make up of 50% of the entire workforce. These employees were initially promised that all dues would be cleared by July 20. However, as Dunzo continues to engage with investors to secure additional funding and address its cash flow challenges, the deadline has now been pushed further. The company has capped employee salaries at rupees 75,000 per month, regardless of their pay package. CNBC-TV18 has also learned that the $75 million that Dunzo raised in April, only about $45 million has come through. The grocery delivery platform is now looking towards Reliance Retail, one of its biggest shareholders, for a $20 million lifeline. In fact, sources also told CNBC-TV18 that the company is taking a hard look at its model to weed out the cost-heavy and unproductive verticals in order to restructure the business and keep the company a going concern. Now remember, Dunzo is part of the growing list of Indian startups which have been cutting costs to extend their capital runway. The quick commerce platform cut its workforce by 30% in April in its second round of job cuts. It also reported a net loss of Rs 464 crores in FY22 and is yet to disclose its FY23 numbers.
Aishwarya, many thanks for joining us. That's Aishwarya Anand there reporting on Dunzo's troubles. Time for us to head to a short break, but up next we take a look at the road to justice for cybercrime victims along with a Bajaj Finserv's Managing Director Sanjeev Bajaj has called for a review in the traditional banking structure. Speaking to CNBC-TV18 at the CII Financial Inclusion and FinTech Summit, Bajaj emphasized on the need for more competition in the financial services sector. SBI Chief Dinesh Khara said he expects the RBI to maintain status quo in the next monetary policy. Take a look.
When it comes to MPC, they have multiple data points to look into. But another broad data point is, of course, the inflation trajectory. What we have seen in the recent past last month, it could be perceived as an aberration. As a bank, we don't expect any interest rate cut. Maybe a status quo is something which we expect.
Why should we in banking have physical branches if we can deliver the same product and service through a digital medium? We need to review some of our traditional structures, whether in banking, whether in insurance. We're seeing actually a lot more happening in insurance over there towards the development role. Same thing has to happen in banking as well. We have to open up, and I think we're taking the right steps there, but a lot more needs to be done. We need a lot more competition in banking and financial services.
We need a lot more competition in banking and financial services. You can catch more from Sanjeev Bajaj, Dinesh Khara and HSBC's Hitendra Dave right here on CNBC TV18 at 5:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. tonight. And you can visit our website, CNBC-TV18.com, for more on the top stories of the day. The fine print available there for you to read at your leisure. Experts say it's just a matter of time before cyber fraud becomes the most common form of crime, and no one will be spared. India is formulating laws and working on strengthening dedicated police departments. Experts argue that support to victims is still largely lacking. In our ongoing series, CyberCon, CNBC TV18 Cybercrime Tracker, Santyagora speaks with the victims on the challenges that they face.
"26-year-old Anju Bhatt is a cybersecurity expert. Trained in cybersecurity and cyber forensics, she works with an MNC and is part of a team that works on internal and client security protocols. Before this, she worked with the Mumbai police in its cyber forensic lab. On a normal basis, Anju receives multiple complaints of various cyber frauds every day, and so when she herself fell victim to cyber fraud, it left her shaken.
This happened last year in July. I got a text message from one of my friend, okay? So it was like, I had this investment plan and I had invested in this and I got so money back. Even you can try once. And so it was like basically me doing transaction with her. I was, occupied with so many things mentally. So I didn't give a second thought or something like that, and I just went into a flow and I thought कि ठीक है चलो, let's do it. And I just called her up and I said कि what is it about? And so she said me कि my Instagram is hacked.
Anju was able to use the resources at her disposal to get all her money back, but the process was not easy. And she says she succeeded more because she knew people.
Actual officer came. I spoke to him. I said him, see, the reference of mine, he helped me to get this stuff. We only need to do this. He was also like, how did you do this? Why did you do this? It was like, this is just social media. I was like, I know all this stuff, okay? Being me also from cybersecurity field, I know everything, but this has happened, and now, right now, we need to take a step is to just to, kick off this fraudster. We just need to take this action. Later on, you keep on telling me all such stuff, whatever you want to. After 4-5 days, I got it back. I got an entire 46,000.
The process itself, Anju says, could be quite daunting for someone who does not know the right people. Experts say one common complaint is that police often appear disinterested in taking action.
I think, of lately, even when the victims come to me, they always tell me that, when we went over there, they got a lot of lecture, So, this is not the time to give them sermons. I always say, for example, you got a heart attack, you go to the hospital, doctor doesn't say, what have you been doing? Why have you not been exercising? You're such an educated person. How could you do this and all that? So this victim blaming thing has to stop, because the doctor, what would he do? He would immediately, hospitalize you, act on you and bring you back to life. And this is the exactly same thing the cop has to do.
Nityanand Rai, the Minister of State for Home Affairs, told Parliament that between the 1st of January 2020 and the 7th of December 2022, only 32,000 FIRs were filed in cases relating to cybercrime. That's 2% of over 16 lakh cases reported over this period.
Experts blame these low numbers on a lack of specialized training and infrastructure, which makes the police unwilling to provide immediate help and support. Also, the personnel deployed to the cyber cell department serve there for a limited period of time before being rotated out. So by the time they get a hang of the system, they get transferred.
One solution to this, they add, would be to hire techies who can serve as permanent members of these cells and provide interested police personnel with specialized training for long-term assignments.
They see these cases, these technical cases as burden. They have developed a cyber cell or cyber unit, but unfortunately, these are the same cops who are, who were conditioned to do policing on the street. So here they need a specialized people for it who thinks like a techie or a geek.
State governments, meanwhile, say they are working on strengthening their cybercrime cells. Meanwhile, experts insist that caution and awareness remain the best tool to fight cybercrime. They advise people to log on to cybercrime portal or call 1930 as soon as they realize they have been scammed. They say any request for personal data, debit or credit card pins or OTPs should immediately set off red flags and be reported. They also urge that online transactions only be carried out through verified secure portals and no sensitive information or documents be uploaded to unknown or untrusted portals. Other advice includes do not answer video calls from unknown numbers and don't fall for attractive offers, because if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. In Mumbai, Santiagora.
So be careful there when you are clicking onto links that come in from people that you don't know. Now, Japanese tech major NTT Data Services will cross the $1 billion revenue mark in India over the next few years. That's the word in from the company's CEO, Bob Pryor. Speaking with CNBC-TV18's Ritu Singh, Pryor said India is the largest strategic market for the company outside of its home base in Japan and contributes 3 to 4% to its global revenues. Listen in.
We're here is because 40,000 of our employees, our largest base of employees outside of Japan, actually live and work here in India. And so it's a really important place for us to be, especially at this time in our journey as we come together as NTT Data Incorporated.
But, Bob, if you could quantify that, when you say India is a really important place for you to be, strategically, what is the importance of the India market to NTT? And in the last few years or so, how has the business trajectory been since COVID?
Okay. Shockingly, and again, I'm clearly a terrible forecaster, because when we entered the pandemic, I actually thought we would shrink. That was actually an incredible growth period for us. And we found that we could be really effective with digital technologies and virtual technologies. So we have been on a growth trajectory across all our different markets that we serve. When I talk about the importance of India, think about it from 2 or 3 different dimensions. So there's one where India is probably some of our best engineering talent and provide services to clients all over the world. So I have a lot of clients in North America, for example, that are served with our global delivery model and framework from employees here in India. When you talk about the data center business, we're one of the leading data center providers here in India, and we are experiencing incredible growth there. So we can't build data centers fast enough to satisfy the demand. So we'll spend another $2 billion US dollars building data centers over the next 3 years here in India, for example. And that's part of that growth. As a revenue figure, we're probably approaching $700 billion US dollars of revenue serving India companies. And so And we think over a very short period of time, we will exceed $1 billion of revenue serving India.
Well, that's NTT Data with the India plans. And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. But before we go, India's diamond boss in Surat has surpassed the Pentagon in the US as the world's largest office. The one-stop shop for over 65,000 diamond professionals spans over 35 acres of land. The project took about a period of 4 years to complete. The building will be officially opened later this year by the Prime Minister, and it will play host to its first occupants in November. We leave you with these images.